Hello to the beautiful people of the United States, Canada, Sweden, and Finland. Today is Thursday, February 20th, Four Nations final day. And this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos so you can get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. I'm DJ Bean. I sit beside Pete Blackburn, and I sit in the very same room, folks. There's Sean DePaz. Hello, boys. Happy final day.
Hell yeah, baby.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Facing off for the final time.
Yeah. It's just yesterday, it seemed like there were four nations facing off.
Now there's two.
Now
There was also only two yesterday.
That's true. He makes a good point.
So it seemed like just yesterday
Because it was.
there was four nations facing off, but in reality,
It was. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
famously there were zero teams facing off. Yesterday.
Seems like it was longer than 2 days ago or
they
yesterday.
took a little break to complain about the doctors. What?
Complaining about the doctors.
That's what happened yesterday.
That was a big story yesterday.
If you want to know what has happened, we do have a video up in which we rapid fire just scream all of the things that have happened in Four Nations. And it's about 7.5 minutes long, even with us talking quick and really trying to move. So much has happened in this tournament. And I am wiped out. I know that both of you are too. It's so freaking weird having essentially the Stanley Cup final, like that type of excitement, intensity, and just round the clock. What are we doing? What are we making? And it is U.S. February 20th in the United States and Canada.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this tournament has gone so much better than anybody could have imagined. And we were talking about it a bunch last night. It's wild that, like, this is essentially the most meaningful, meaningless game of all time.
It is. And when you brought it up, I knew it was right, but also I was like, part of it is that it's just so unique because how many meaningful, meaningless games have there ever really been? We were talking about World Cup of Hockey. That was a niche thing. Like Pete and I were into it.
Yeah, but that we also talked about it. Like that was 2 years after the Olympics. So there wasn't that hunger for best on best like there is in this tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Like the people that were like, oh my God, this rules is the best thing in the world. They were part of a smaller community.
Yeah.
That was not a national, hey, you guys seeing the Team Europe jerseys? I don't understand why they weren't doing that. But this is just unlike anything we've had. And I don't besmirch any of the players for talking about it as though it's a Stanley Cup final game or talking about it as the biggest game of their lives when they've played in Stanley Cup final games because it's USA Canada. This is just everything we want. We were at dinner with some friends last night, and friend of the show, Evan Sporer, brought up like, hey, what is pound for pound the best Stanley Cup final matchup this year in terms of excitement, in terms of hockey, in terms of box office, in terms of the money it would generate, all these things. And no matter what answers we came up with, there's nothing like USA Canada.
Nope. There isn't.
Like, this is why we fucking do it. I didn't know this existed when we started to do it, but this is why we do it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's crazy. We have to go back to NHL hockey after this, which is going to be a tough thing to do. At least the Stanley Cup final, like, that's it, baby. You're done. And then you restart months later. It's going to be so weird to get, like, Oilers Flyers on Saturday.
I was going to say, it also feels like the NHL kind of was like, we're going to make the worst possible slate on Saturday just to fuck with you.
Saturday's slate, not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Saturday's slate stinks, baby.
This shows maybe I just don't know ball anymore. I try to be on top of slates. I try to tell people, hey, cancel your plans 2 Mondays from now. It's a good Monday for hockey. I have no idea what the slate is Saturday. I couldn't tell you one game.
I don't
Well,
care
we
about the
discussed it
NHL
a
at
little
this
bit
point.
yesterday. We get tucked in real nice with Canucks Golden Knights.
We start with a Saturday slate, great, Sean? Give it to me.
I mean, we can if you want.
Yes.
At 12:30 p.m. Eastern, you got Wild at Red Wings. I feel like it's not terrible. And then you get at 1 p.m. Eastern,
Why
Oilers
is there a
at
12:30
Flyers.
p.m. Eastern game?
It's on ABC too.
12:30 p.m. Wild. Okay.
So there really is an Oilers Flyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oilers Flyers at 1 p.m. and then 3 p.m. Eastern. Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals at Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, also on ABC.
It's a Sidney Crosby Bowl in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm sure it's hoping. And then 5:30 p.m. Eastern, you get the battle of the shitty New York teams, New York Rangers at the Buffalo Sabres. 6 p.m., you have Kraken Panthers, Stars Devils, and Avs Preds. 7 p.m., you have Ducks at Bruins, Canes at Leafs, Canadians at Senators, Blackhawks at Blue Jackets, Jets at Blues, and then at 9 p.m. you have Utah Hockey Club at the Kings, and then at 10 p.m. we get tucked in with Canucks at Golden
Okay.
Knights.
That tucks me in good.
Okay.
It ends strong.
We kind of disrespected that slate. It's
A
not,
little bit.
It's not great. It's pretty weak on the front end. It's not that bad.
It's just the way that it's structured and having so many dog shit games throughout the entirety of the day before you get to like
Yeah.
pretty good hockey with like Stars, Devils is interesting.
Yeah. I'll be
Canes,
honest.
Maple Leafs.
I can't give a shit about the NHL today.
Yeah,
I can't.
That's really
Well,
valid.
we're doing a sneaky amount of NHL,
Yeah.
so get you're not in the mood. Get in the mood. Last thing before we do actually begin the show in earnest, you mentioned the Avalanche, and I'm distracted by my
Oh, yeah.
wonderful Avalanche hat because our dear friend Katie O'Keefe, a loyal whatnot, a strong whatnot, sent us a care package that was a big box. And boys, God is my witness. When I was opening it, I said, lot of space for Avs propaganda in here, and it was just overflowing with Avs propaganda.
She gave me the best, I think maybe the best item of merch that I've acquired this season.
That's so good.
This
Very
sweatshirt, unbelievable.
Oh, I didn't realize it was furry.
It's
Yes.
furry and like
Oh,
metallic.
shit.
And
It's unbelievable. Look at
and-
this sweatshirt.
customized Avalanche friendship bracelets that are specific to the teams we like. So I have an Avalanche colored bracelet that says tastiest season yet with an Oilers charm on it.
I have one also in Avs colors that says it's a beautiful day for, and then a Sabres charm.
I have one that says Short King, and it just has the Bruins logo on it. Fuck yeah. And she also got a Avalanche branded chapstick. That is a
so
true
hard.
ball knower.
Damn.
If anybody
Amazing.
watches the show on YouTube, you have probably seen me apply chapstick 4,000 times over the course of a week.
I've genuinely never met someone who uses chapstick as much as you do.
Audience wise, Katie is what we're going for. Doesn't go over is clearly only talk about my team,
Yeah.
please. I'll hang out for the other stuff, but does it very tastefully and likes her team so much that she's trying to buy us. So great behavior. Love you, Katie. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Pete, why don't you tell the folks on the show today?
I would love to do just that, David. Today on the show, we have the final. Tonight, you're getting USA Canada, and we could not be more excited. Then Cam joins our friend Cam Robinson. We hung out with him last night. He had some nice little takes, so we said, hey, come on the show, talk about these takes. And he's going to join us in just a little bit. NHL teams most affected by four nations. We'll discuss some of that. Obviously, the Bruins are on that list because of the Charlie McAvoy situation, but there's some other ones that we want to talk about as well. And finally, a little bit of news yesterday. Seth Jones said that he might want to be traded from the Chicago Blackhawks. So credit to DJ first. Was on that like a year ago, being like, hey, Seth Jones, trade maybe? I don't know. We'll
Real
see.
reporters, or I used to be a real reporter, but the secret is don't wait till you're hearing anything. If it feels good,
Throw that shit against the wall, brother.
yeah, if it feels good, think, hey, I thought of a smart thing that should happen. You got to have faith in other people that they're going to be smart and think to actually do it. So if it's a good idea, just put it out there. And now look, Seth Jones checking out the show a year ago. Took him a year to muster up the courage. We'll talk about that because the Seth Jones trade stuff has only gotten more interesting over the last couple of months, especially with how much the cap is going up. But we will begin, of course, with Four Nations Face Off. Did everybody enjoy the documentary last night?
No, I didn't watch it.
Yes, no, same.
Sure,
Did
I
anybody
would've.
watch the documentary? If you're in the chat and you watched that documentary, let us know how it was.
Yes.
I do. I know I kind of pushed back on your idea that you don't like it being as immediate yesterday, but like this is. I didn't realize it came out last night. That's too immediate.
Yeah, that's what we were
Like
talking
I
about
didn't realize.
yesterday.
I didn't realize it was before the tournament actually ended.
Yeah,
Sean's like, respectfully, I wasn't listening to you guys.
Well, no, I figured it would come out like Friday, and I'm like, that's fine.
I'm assuming part 2 is going to be about like the final, but we'll see. It just seems like too early to relive the memories.
Yeah,
Well-
that's fair.
Well, the final is tonight, 8 p.m. And if you're in Boston, obviously come by Hurricanes at the Garden. We will be there. We're going to be doing a meet and greet. We're going to be doing a live show. We've got a nice little PA set up. So if you want to come and see us, wave to us, take a picture, you can come do that. And then you can go do whatever you want. But if you want to get a little like live What Chaos action, you hang out around us, hang out by the little stage area, and you'll get that. It's very cool. It's a great setup they have there. And we've seen some real, we'll say, stars coming in and out of that. Like, we have not been the most famous people there.
No.
Even though somebody came up to me and said, it's crazy seeing all you celebrities here. And then named like one real celebrity, us, and then like 2 other non-celebrities. So shout out that guy.
Hell yeah.
But I'm just saying, Gerard Gallant was there last
Gerard Gallant was there, and he was hanging out. That guy was chilling.
He was near the stage.
Yeah.
Maybe you wanted to hear.
Chad is saying that the documentary was good.
Oh, amazing. Love
yeah.
to see that. Sean, could you keep an eye, by the way, on lineup updates as we inch closer and closer to this game? Because I do want to begin the conversation about the Four Nations final with something that Cam Robinson was talking about last night when we were hanging out with them. And I was thinking, you better tweet this, because I want to talk about it. I don't want to just do the Seth Jones thing with this. I want to have some actual hard information.
I got a lineup update for you right now. Seth Jarvis back in the lineup for Travis Konechny.
Wow. Love that. Love that for Canada.
I mean, I hate it for the U.S., but yeah.
How do you think that shakes out lines-wise? Do you think that means that he's reunited with Brad Marchand, or do you think that Brad Marchand remains a fourth liner?
I mean, I would think that they put him back with Marchand. I don't know why they ever split him up. That line was their best line in game 1.
They were good in the first game, although, tell you what, he's about to join us. I was talking to Cam last night. Cam hasn't been wowed by Brad Marchand in this tournament. I said, I haven't been wowed by John Cooper.
Yeah, right. It's hard to be wowed by Brad Marchand when he's being stapled to the bench.
Yeah, we're biased. Let's bring in the great Cam Robinson of Elite Prospects. Cam, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, boys? Holy smokes, Pete, you are not messing around with those overalls, eh?
You better believe it, buddy.
I want to start with the the topic of conversation you brought up last night, which is that we should be keeping an eye on Kyle Connor. This is somebody who began the tournament as a first liner, has 1 point in the tournament, a secondary assist on a Matt Boldy goal, and has fallen to be a fourth liner or possibly out. You think that he could potentially not play tonight?
I mean, historically, the signs are pointing to him being scratched, right? Like he was in Brady's spot yesterday at the morning skate, which is usually they're expecting Brady to come back into the lineup. That's the spot you put your scratch. He stayed out late this morning during morning skate doing a little extra work, usually something a guy does when he's about to get scratched. Now, not to say like anything can happen throughout the course of the day. The coaching staff's going to make their decision here. We have a feeling that they want the bigger body with Chris Kreider. He did play pretty well against Sweden there when he did get a chance to get into the lineup too. So, I mean, if it's me, I'm probably keeping the guy who's going to rip 40, 45 this year and maybe push 100 points and have that one-shot goal scoring ability that he can bring to the lineup. But like I said last night too, it just seems like he's the guy who's going to be the odd man out today.
I mean, if Kyle Connor gets scratched, you got to put him in like the top 3 guys with the most disappointing tournament at Four Nations. Like had all the opportunity in the world and ends up not playing in the final. That would be devastating for that guy.
Oh, without a doubt. And yeah, there's a great number of players who did not have their best showings at this event. And, we've been talking about it. Yeah, I mean, Phil Forsberg, Willie Nylander, you can name a bunch of Swedes. And, the flu was just, ravaging that team, too. So maybe we can let them off the hook just a tad. But, I've been talking about it all week is that for some of these players who have never played at, a true best on best, the speed, the physicality, the skill, it's real. You can see it's hard for players to really match and to get used to it. Especially some of these slighter guys, Mitch Marner has been pretty ineffective outside of that 3-on-3 when it was open ice. Jack Hughes, these guys that really thrive with a little bit more time and space to be super creative and elusive. You just don't have it out there. And Connor's kind of been one of those guys as well. He's been kind of forced to the periphery, hasn't been able to get inside. He does have the great speed in the shot, but it's this hockey is so tremendous, right? That it's really difficult for these guys to get an inch. And so you kind of need that big body to make your own space out there a little bit too.
I know that Canada does have the one lineup change at forward, but we were talking about yesterday. Do you think there's just benefit for Canada to generally know what their lineup is going to be, where the last few days for USA, I know that they're all very locked in and everything, but it's got to be distracting to not know, is Quinn Hughes coming? Is this guy in? Is this guy out? Like, I still would probably take USA's roster right now, even though Canada has more top-end talent. But one advantage for Canada, I feel, is they at least know what they've got and they can wrap their head around it.
Yeah, having that, especially in like a short sprint like this, right? That it's so difficult to build that chemistry so quickly and then hold on to it. And so the fact that Canada has had, for the most part, their lines, have mixed around a little bit, but they've had the same group of guys minus Cale Makar for a minute, losing Shea Theodore. But you're right, it's been a little more chaotic, right? It has more twists and turns than like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, that American roster bringing in guys, who's going to be there, who's not going to be in the lineup, who's hurt, who's sick. So there's a lot going on, but at the same time, if Brady is, even 80%, that top line with Eichel, they're rolling hot, right? Is this the day that Auston Matthews kind of breaks out and finds that next gear? Like there's all these question marks, but they do have all the horses up there. And for the most part, they've all been skating together and they've been running some good practices. So you play this game 100 times, it could be 50-50. Like, this is so tight, I think, that I'm like you. On paper, I'd probably take that American roster just for the depth and the well-roundedness of it all. But you can't ever count out Sidney Crosby and Team Canada. Like, their top end is so high, and they have the experience, and that does pay off in these things often.
How similar do you expect this game to be to the one on Saturday? Or is there going to be adjustments made? Like, are we going to get the same kind of game, or is it going to be different?
I think we're going to get the same intensity. Not to say we're going to get 3 tilts in the first 9 seconds, but I mean, that'd be lovely if we did. That was so exciting. But I do think we're going to see that level of speed, physicality, right? The U.S., it's quite clear what they're doing. It's a soft dump in and then attack those Canadian blue liners, right? Hammer them all throughout the night and hope that you can wear them down. I think for Canada, they will be making adjustments, right? Is that it's going to be really hard to beat this team twice in a week because they saw what went wrong and now they will adjust. And one of the things that has to be done, the adjustment, and they know it, and they've talked about it. Sam Bennett said we made life too easy on Connor Hellebuck. They are going to be getting pucks to the net and then crashing that net, which will lead to scrums and more, vicious stuff going on, which is going to be great for the game too. But I do expect that Canada will be shooting the puck a lot more. They're trying to make those perfect plays. And that could be the Connor Hellebuck effect, right? He's so good that you think you have to make the perfect play to beat him on a back door or something like that, when they just got to rip pucks on net. And that's what we saw against Finland, is that right off the puck drop is that they were shooting, getting it, boom, ripping it, going to the net. And so I think we're going to see that adjustment made tonight.
I usually wrinkle my nose when people boil big games down to that team just out-physicaled the other one. But how much does Canada need to – they're not going to completely match USA's physicality, but how much do they need to at least be in the ballpark? Or can they just say, you know what, we're fast, you're not going to hit us, try to hit us, whatever, cool, you're too slow?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to bang. They're going to give it right back. The guys that are there to do it anyways, right? Like Sam Bennett's going to be doing it. Brandon Hagel's going to be doing it. On the blue line, Parayko, guys, they're going to be using their big bodies where they can, but it's a small team, right? You don't want Nathan McKinnon throwing his body around, right? You don't want McDavid or Crosby. Those guys, that's not their business. And they have a lot of those type of players, really exceptional players, but you want them playing offense too. So USA definitely has the advantage on that. But I don't think that the physicality really was the difference in that first game anyways. Like, the US won and they were more physical, so it's easy to draw that line. But I don't think that that's what won them the game. I think what won them the game was, timely goal scoring and just stifling defense too, right? Their system, when they got that lead, having Jacob Slavin out there. Like, hate to go on a rush against Jacob Slavin. Like, he is just so sweltering, like nothing gets by him too. And they have that well-roundedness. And yeah, they lose Charlie Mack. But Jake Sanderson is, just a heck of a player too. So that downgrade is minuscule in my mind too. So I think this lineup, as long as the Americans can continue to do that, if they can get a lead and they can play the defensive style that they want while still being able to push up ice and be physical, I think this game's going to go really, really well for them. But if Canada starts rolling and getting that confidence and that speed off the rush starts to work for them and they can generate chances in the slot and get to the middle of the ice, and then, that's going to lead for a good night for Canada.
You mentioned the physicality maybe being a little overrated there. Let's also not forget that if Jordan Binnington, who did make some good saves in that game, but if he has an okay game, Canada probably wins.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they probably win. They have a much better chance of winning.
Yeah, right. Yes, okay, it's a lot closer.
Yeah, it's a lot closer. And I mean, that was essentially the difference in that game. It's easy to forget that Jake Guentzel goal was horrible. But yeah, I think that Jordan Binnington needs a good game to potentially put himself in the running to be back on the roster next year for the Olympics. If he has a bad game, maybe the last time that you see him in a Team Canada sweater.
I mean, we were discussing this last night, Cam. There are a lot of guys right now who, yeah, you're playing to win this thing right now, but certain players, and I don't know if you want to name a few, are probably thinking what Pete just said. Like, I'm not just playing to not fuck this thing up. I'm playing to remain a member of Team USA, Team Canada, wherever.
Oh yeah, 100%, right? Like, we, off the top of the show, you guys mentioned Brad Marchand, right? Like, there are guys that this could be the last time that they get to wear their national team sweaters unless they really show up today too, right? So there's and Marchand even said it, this is bigger than just a hockey game, right? This is like
he would say
all the geopolitical stuff going on, right? All the geopolitical stuff going on, the booing of the anthems. Like, I expect USA, like here in Boston, I expect Canada's anthem to get booed tonight. Like, it's that, and then plus all the guys that are battling for a job, these kids that are like Thomas Harley coming into the lineup, getting a look, Jake Sanderson getting a look, even like Sam Ersson getting the game earlier for Sweden. These are massive opportunities for these guys to show like, hey, big stage, big moment, I can show up. Look at me for next year in Italy. So I think you're right, is that it's just, there's so much on the line for this. And a lot of players are playing for not only just the pride and the jersey, but the opportunities in the future as well.
For a fan, I mean, you're a nice Canadian man. There's not much more than bragging rights on the line. Like, nobody gives a shit about this trophy. It's a one-off tournament. We're never going to see it again. Like, how important are the bragging rights for Canada and for the United States?
Again, it's just like everything that's going around the world right now with it, right? Like, I saw someone joking, right? Tonight, just put the tariffs on the line, right? Whoever wins gets to tariff the other country 25%. We just all walk away from it. So maybe that's what could be on the line. But it's the players that have made this what it is, right? Is that they could have showed up and played at 75%, and it could have been, like the NBA All-Star game, and no one would have cared about it. But now they've made it worthwhile for everybody. And so for them, the bragging rights are obviously supreme. And then that's going to bleed into next year in Italy, where it's going to be, the storyline is going to be, USA trying to defend their title, or USA once again trying to knock off Canada because they can't get it done, right? And it's the storylines are going to build themselves, and that hatred and that vitriol between the two clubs are going to be there next year when we're all in Italy watching it there. And there won't be fights in that one, unfortunately, but the physicality will probably still be high, and the rivalry. So it's just, I feel like it's just, we've been waiting so long for a best on best that it doesn't matter that this is a one-off and it's a trophy that no one's really going to care about. It's not going to help you get into the Hall of Fame at the end of your career, probably. But it means a lot to the players, and it means a lot to these fans of these two countries. And so consequently, it's been great for the game.
Yeah. I mean, like, the merit of the tournament itself isn't big, but like, it sets the table for the fact that we're getting a best on best with things expanded and more teams included every 2 years starting next year, which is insane. That, I mean, like, this like is a Saturday was a tone setter for the rivalry. This game is a tone setter for like the future of international best on best, which is going to kind of explode in next year and beyond.
You know what's a good thought I just had on this, and it's another reason why this tournament is so unbelievable. This has been compared to a Game 7. This is better than any recent Game 7 going into it in my mind, because last year, everybody thought they knew who was winning Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. 2019, everybody thought they knew who was winning Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. In both cases, the other team won. Have you spoken to anybody who's sure about what's going to happen tonight?
No, I mean, obviously, like the momentum swings in USA's favor, but like I don't know an American hockey fan that I've talked to that is like overly confident, just knowing how much talent there is on Canada's roster.
I think it's like 50.1 to 49.9. And that's my way of asking Cam what you think is going to happen and who you think is going to win. But do you agree that this is Game 7s are always supposed to be a toss-up, but this feels like more of a toss-up and a well-earned toss-up than any of the recent Game 7s we've had?
Like I said, like I honestly believe this is like as dead a heat as you could possibly imagine. And I'm the same way. Like I was asking people in the media, like we were just like saying, like Canadians, Americans, whoever, everybody basically, like, depends on what country you're from. They're kind of like, I think US is going to win, but it's probably going to be Canada. And the Canadians are like, I think Canada's going to win, but it's probably going to be the Americans. Like everybody, nobody's sure of anything, right? Everyone's just a little wary. They're hoping that their country's going to get it done. But you look across the aisle and you're like, how are they going to beat those guys again? Or how are we going to knock those guys off after they beat us last time, right? It's a coin flip. This is honestly a coin flip. And I can't recall a game where we like legitimately at this level in this pressure of a situation where it was like 100% a coin flip. Like 2010, Canada was supposed to win that game, right? They had on paper so much more talent. Even going back to 2002, Canada's supposed to win that game. Like everybody's picking Canada to win those games, and then they do. In this one, I don't know what's going to happen. I gave the prediction before this tournament, like a week before it happened. I said that, 2010 in Vancouver, they won it in overtime on home soil. They got to taste that glory Canada did. This time around, it's going to be the U.S. in overtime. And then now U.S. gets to taste that too.
Buddy, my pants will be in the rafters if that happens.
Oh my God.
Somebody in the chat asked, what is the funniest possible outcome of tonight's game? I like that question. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I mean...
The funniest, hey?
For me, it's got to be Jordan Binnington giving up a horrible goal.
Something that happens to Jordan Binnington.
Oh. Yeah, that would be. It's like almost likely though, right? It's almost like saying like Sid's going to get the golden goal. It's like that's probably what's going to happen, right? One of those two
Jordan
things.
Binnington scoring on his own net. Oh, that would be the best.
Oh, like Martin Brodeur
shooting off a D's back or something.
2003 Martin Brodeur, who was unbelievable in that series against the Ducks, had 3 shutouts. Was talking about it with somebody last night, but he also had went to play a puck that was being iced and just dumped it into his own net. Maybe he does that to begin with.
That would be the best. Yeah,
or
that's what I'm rooting for.
How about that out there? Get rid of that.
How about this? There's like a power outage or something during the first intermission after Jordan Binnington fucks up badly. So they're not blasting the music, and you can hear Connor McDavid screaming at Jordan Binnington in the locker room.
Right now!
Yeah. Right now! Be good at goal!
Right now!
Fucking damn it!
Yes.
That would be fun.
And then people would be like, he never has to do that with Stu. Maybe Stu should have been on the team. Who knows? Cam, you are the best. I also wanted to pay you this compliment. I meant to do it in person last night. I always go to you for your analysis because it is really top-notch at both the NHL level and all below with all the prospects. But your reporting this year has been unbefucking-leavable. You are as well-rounded a member of this whole thing as there is. So great job this year, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's been a fun year of growth for me professionally, and hopefully it can continue.
Well, I hope you have a bad night tonight. So I love you, but it's not your night. That's what I'm hoping.
It's gonna be a good night for me, no matter what, man. Just being in the building, getting to work this. It wasn't that long ago. I was standing out in the rain trying to scalp tickets to a semifinal game at the Olympics with student loan cash in hand that I shouldn't have spent. Now they're paying me to go to these things. It's going to be a good night for me, no matter what.
How lucky are we, buddy? Thanks for coming on. Very much appreciate it.
Appreciate it, boys.
Thanks, Cam. Did we note that you have still not seen a team you like win at the Garden this year?
No.
We brought that up yesterday, I think.
I don't know. On the show? I mean, I've definitely talked about it in the past couple days, but I think I'm like 0-4 this year between the Bruins and Team USA.
Oh, yeah. I guess we might not have talked about it on the show because I was talking about how the teams I've wanted to win have been 0-3 at the Garden this year.
And not only am I 0-4, I've seen like 2 of the worst Bruins games this season, which is saying a lot.
You went to the Blue Jackets game.
I did. I went to the Jim Montgomery's final game behind the bench.
I went to the Flyers game. I went to the Penguins game. Those are two of the. Those are like the.
We both went to the Oilers game, obviously.
I went to Joe Sacco's first game against the Utah Hockey Club.
You saw him win, but you famously tweeted during the game. So Bruins fans just watch this.
Been watching this shit all year. Yeah, it was awful.
Like, this shit sucks. I sent you guys a text at probably like 2 a.m. last night or a couple nights ago because it just hit me. Like, in addition to all of this, I remember saying something similar before Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Like, in addition to all this shit we're excited about, we might see Connor McDavid win the fucking Stanley Cup tonight, or like we might see Matthew Tkachuk win the Stanley Cup tonight. Like, Bob, like really cool shit. In addition to all the stuff that's going on, we just get to go watch Connor McDavid play hockey today. And I will never, ever, ever become so jaded or get used to going to a hockey event to watch Connor McDavid.
I mean, honestly, for me, I am more excited. Like, I get to watch. I've never seen Sidney Crosby play live. I've never seen Nathan McKinnon play live. Like, Connor McDavid's obviously Connor McDavid, but like, never gonna get this collection of players together again. Unless we somehow. I'd love to go to
and it's
Italy
a fucking it's an all-star roster, and they're trying.
Yeah.
Not only are they trying, like they're trying like it's a Game 7. Like it's gonna be fucking crazy. It's maybe the greatest collection of like talent on ice playing for a game that matters.
I think, didn't Brad Marchand say that USA is the
toughest team that he's ever played
the toughest
against.
Team he's ever played against? And I was like, brother, I fucking hope so.
Like,
if you're NHL, I mean, he's played in World Cup of Hockey or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I hope that a regular NHL team isn't beating this USA team.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I am curious to see what like the post game scene is going to be like on the ice for celebration wise, because you're gonna have like the anthem and the guys on the blue line. We know that, but like, what is going to be like the trophy ceremony? We've never seen it before. Obviously, this is a new tournament, and what is the celebration for the winning team going to look like?
I want Bettman involved. I know I won't be.
You don't think he will be?
Actually, I don't know.
He probably will be.
Yeah, I guess it would make sense.
I don't know anything about like we've learned as much as we've wanted to learn about this tournament.
I think we've learned as much as they know.
Yeah, I mean, if the Quinn Hughes, if we've learned anything the last couple of days, it's that nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out the. Do you know why we did have talked about this? Like, do you know why Quinn Hughes isn't coming back?
Because he doesn't want to get on a plane.
Would not
don't blame him. Yeah,
planes have sucked recently. The Canucks saw the whole Charlie McAvoy thing and were like, obviously, no one wants their player to get injured. But after the Charlie McAvoy thing, the Canucks were like, absolutely not.
Well, I mean, the Canucks didn't want him to play to begin with, and I think maybe we jumped on the shout out to the Canucks for being cool thing way too early, because this does kind of reek of them being like, you can't go. We have final say. We are your parents. You are not going to this tournament.
Well, my parents, when I was a kid, used to take me to a place called Sports Etc. in Arlington, Massachusetts, and I would get hockey equipment. You know who would make it? Bauer. Sometimes I would go over, I'd look at their goalie pads, and I'd be like, damn, I want to play goalie. And they would say, DJ, your team rotates who plays goalie every week, and you're always terrible when you play goalie. And I was like, but their pads are so good. Every pad that Bauer makes is good. And now as an adult, I don't buy as much hockey equipment. I get skates, I get gloves. But for me now, I dress myself with Bauer. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Bauer dresses us. They say, hey, what do you think of this? It would look good on you. And it always does. The pants, Bauer pants are just on another level. So we would encourage you to head over to Bauer's sales page because it offers a wide range of discounted products, including skates, sticks, protective gear, and apparel that caters to players of all levels. Consumers can find significant savings on premium hockey equipment known for its quality, durability, and performance. It really just has everything that you could need. And if you are a hockey player, obviously you know Bauer. Obviously, you know they make the best stuff. If you are a hockey fan or just somebody who likes to dress comfortably, get that stuff. We've talked about their shirts ad nauseum. They have a shirt that legitimately is a stick of butter. I am positive it is made of butter. When I wear it, people say you smell of salted butter. That's what it's like. It's so good. Sean's looking at me doing a thumbs up saying, I know what's going on there. Current key...
I was honestly just wondering why salted. and not unsalted.
Because all these flavors, and what do they say? All these flavors, and you had to choose salt when someone's being salty.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get 25% off select helmets, up to 50% off select apparel styles, and collabs. And you know the collabs are very good. So head to Bauer's sales page, have an absolute blast there. And you know what? Why don't you get yourself some free shipping with the code FREESHIPWC?
That's right. Declan says Bauer pants are the perfect pants to have blown to the rafters during Four Nations face-off. That's right.
Yeah, but you know what? I want to do this with the pants, and if I went like this with the pants, I feel like they would just stretch to out here.
That's true.
They have give.
They do have give. They give. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
You have to
Bauer
give.
pants. You have to
Did you give?
brother. We're going to be heading to Hurricanes right after this show. But before we do that, probably going to eat some lunch. And I'm going to eat Factor because Factor, they're unbelievable. They got those pre-made meals, 2 minutes in the microwave. Oh, baby. And it doesn't taste like a meal that you heat up for 2 minutes in the microwave. Those things are absolutely delicious. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved, and they're ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. So you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. We've been so busy this week, so Factor has helped us kind of supplement our active, busy lifestyle. And if you're looking to lose some weight, you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. Based off of randomized controlled clinical trials with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on diet and exercise, but man, they have unbelievable options regardless of your dietary preferences. I mean, they got a menu that includes Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and keto meals, and they can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. So reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/whatchaos50off and use code whatchaos50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code whatchaos50off at factormeals.com/whatchaos50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Pete, let me ask you a question. What is the difference between goals and a combo of taxes and bullying? What's the difference between those two things? So here you've got goals, and then here's a little handful of taxes and bullying. What's the difference?
Brother, I couldn't even begin to dissect that.
Goals are not mentioned in Donald Trump's hockey tweets, but taxes and bullying are.
You gotta be specific here. Not a tweet. He did not tweet this
Truth
out,
Social.
and he didn't even post it on Twitter. He likes to post his Truth Social posts on Twitter. He didn't post this one on Twitter.
Well, I got it straight from the source.
Yes, Pete DM'd him and said, "Sir, it would be an honor if you would come to TD Garden."
Sir, why haven't you tweeted about Team USA yet, sir?
Sir, I know you're very busy making our country the way it should be, and sir. And Donald Trump responded to Pete, "I'll be calling our great, all caps, American hockey team this morning to spur them on towards victory tonight against Canada, which, with all caps, far lower taxes and much stronger security, will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished and very important 51st state. I'll be speaking before the governors tonight in D.C. and will sadly, therefore, be unable to attend. But we will all be watching, and if Governor Trudeau would like to join us, he would be most welcome. Good luck to everybody. Have a great game tonight. So exciting. President Donald J. Trump." So that's that. And I was kind of trying
detours there.
I hadn't read this before I did this. Like, I'm not saying this politically. What a fucking clown.
The Governor Trudeau stuff is just so fucking absurd, because if somebody disrespected him by not calling him the president, he would bomb them.
He is an actual clown.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Face paint and all.
I know you love him, Pete. And we all loved him in Home Alone too.
Yeah.
But
He
the man's
also
a clown.
called Team USA this morning. USA Hockey tweeted, "Team USA received a call from the president this morning to wish them luck ahead of Four Nations championship game. And then there's a picture of them all sitting in the locker room listening to a guy just holding up a cell phone.
Ugh. I mean, I'm not going to we don't need to spend too much time on this. I was a non-Trump voter. There are posts and messages he could do that I wouldn't be like, well, I'm going to cry about Donald Trump. But if he would just like, this tournament has rocked. And you know why? Because the United States of America is the best country in the world. 600 exclamation points. I'd be like, nice job, old man. What? Like, that's what you're supposed to do or something?
Not a single mention of Freebird.
With far lower taxes and better security, they will be our chair. All right. It's just
as soon as you include taxes in like your hockey post, you lose me, man.
Why did you just be like, I hope Jake Gensel scores again? Like,
I'll say I don't love the guy, but he's funny sometimes. This was just weird.
Disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing. Pete thought that Trump was better than that.
That's right.
Yeah. Pete likes all of his other posts. Can we talk about Seth Jones trade possibility? Because Seth Jones has told Ben Pope of the Chicago Sun-Times he wants to be traded. Now, he has not formally requested a trade, but he, his agent, and Kyle Davidson have been talking, quote, back and forth, according to Jones. Jones, mind you, is 30 years old. He's in the third year of an 8-year deal with a $9.5 million AAV. Has been considered, of course, an albatross financially for the Chicago Blackhawks because the team is bad. He has not been what he was in Nashville or Columbus. It seems like he's kind of going this way where we thought that he would still sort of be in his prime. He wants to get out of there. He wants to win. This is something that we have discussed from the if I were another team and I could get him on the cheap, I would maybe take him, but he has no movement clause. We now know, and we can get into quotes in a little bit, we now know, yes, he wants to get out of there. He wants to win.
I'm confused as like what constitutes formally requesting a trade? Because when you
say, sir, trade you,
yes.
Sir, trade me.
Like if you talk to a reporter and you say, yeah, I'd like to be traded. I want to go win. Do you formally requested a trade?
No.
I love the idea of like getting on Twitter and being like, I'm going to break up with my girlfriend. And then she shows up and it's like, what happened there? Be like,
No,
wait until I do it officially.
Yeah, it's not official.
That's big Michael Scott, I declare bankruptcy.
Right.
It's not how that works.
No, you go in. Oh, actually, he could do a glove slap, but famously, Seth Jones' gloves are very expensive.
It's true, yeah.
But yeah, you just walk in, Kyle Davidson, give him a light little glove slap. That would hurt if you got hit in the face, if you got a glove slap with a hockey glove. But this is all interesting to me. We've been talking about it for a while. Could Seth Jones be traded? That contract is big. Yes, it's very big. Jones even acknowledged it as such. He said, quote, we all know the whole story and what happened when I got here. I'd like to give myself a chance to win in my career. I know that the money is not an easy thing to move, and that's what we're figuring out. Now, the cap is $88 million this year. $9.5 million against the cap of $88 million is so much. It's a high percentage. We're not going to do the math because we can't do it. But I will tell you that in the next 3 years, the cap is going up to $113.5 million. Seth Jones is currently the fifth highest paid defenseman by AAV. Obviously should not be. There are more than 4 defensemen better than him. And I think that like he's tied with guys like Adam Fox who are better than, he's right around Charlie McAvoy, et cetera, et cetera. When the cap goes up to $113.5 million, $9.5 million is not going to be bad for somebody who plays as many minutes as him. And if he gets traded, and Ben Pope speculates in this story, like maybe Chicago would retain half. Chicago, I don't think you need to retain half. I think if you want to trade him, sure, trade him.
I think they got to retain, man. I don't know.
You have to retain something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in retaining now, though, I don't know if Chicago's going to be trading too many big contracts over the years, but 5 years of having one of your retention spots gummed up is... like, you would need to make it worth my while if I'm going to do
100%. But I think that's like the biggest motivator for Chicago, honestly, is like if you can get a first-round pick or something for retaining half for that amount of time, wouldn't you do that? That's a big piece for your rebuild as you're trying to restructure things in Chicago. And if it turns into a good player who's going to be making a minimum contract, that would make sense for Chicago.
That would be very San Jose Sharks trading hurdle.
Yeah, right. where it's like, but it's a little different because Hurdle's a good player,
Hey,
and
Jones is good. He's not very good.
like Hurdle is like a centerpiece player.
Yeah.
Jones is like an ancillary player
Who has been pretty bad.
Yeah, right. And 30 years old, a lot of miles on that body. It would very much concern me. Like if I'm trading for Seth Jones, I need Chicago to retain just based off of the player that you're getting, what Seth Jones might be in a few years with all his mileage. And then you have to give up a first round pick on top of that, maybe for them to retain. I don't know, man. I would like to see him moved. I just don't know how realistic it is given how bad the contract is.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little reading from this story because it was good reporting and work from Ben Pope. Jones holds a no movement clause, a full no movement clause, so he has the power to block any trade. What he doesn't have the power to do is make a trade to an attractive contending team happen. For that to happen before the trade deadline, March 7th, the Hawks will have to be sufficiently incentivized to move Jones, and a contending team will have to want Jones and be able to squeeze in his contract in some form. As he referenced, his full $9.5 million salary cap hit won't fit in easily anywhere. At 50% retained, however, Jones would become a valuable asset. In that case, he would carry an affordable $4.75 million cap hit through 2030. Within the NHL's skyrocketing cap, that would be chump change. Correct. Yeah. But that would occupy one of the Hawks' 3 retention spots, as I said, for each of the next 5 seasons, limiting their flexibility to make trades far into the future. Even beyond the question of retention, the Hawks will have to determine whether the best trade offer they get for Jones is enough to justify giving up an experienced, talented, minutes-eating top 4 defenseman, regardless of his personal wishes. The offer might have to be quite substantial to persuade them. After all, they've moved past the teardown stage of their rebuild and are hoping to build up their roster this summer and become a winning team again soon. They're a better team with Jones than without him, and that's something that you have hammered whenever we've brought this up, and we've brought it up way more than we probably should. Like, don't forget, they're bad now, but if they're trying to get better,
wouldn't you want a player like Seth Jones?
Do you strip away a guy who ideally is a second pairing defenseman but can play a bajillion minutes if needed? But then the other side of that coin is what you just mentioned. He's an old 30 because of how much he does play. Mm-hmm. Like it's like that those chickens may already be coming home to roost.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing diminishing returns on the player. It's also just like, you know, depending on what Chicago thinks they are and how far away they are, like he could make sense. And the $9+ million that he's making, it's hard to bury that on a blue line. But like if he's playing in a limited role, he is a player that you would want. He's not a bad player. It's just like he doesn't really fit his contract and he doesn't fit what the team needs from him right now.
Is there the possibility and this is maybe a bit of a stretch, there's a 30-year-old defenseman who plays in the Western Conference, makes over $9 million a year, that last postseason we were saying, ay caramba, that contract is so bad, which we've always thought that the Darnell Nurse contract was bad, but it was looking like, oh man, what is that team going to do? This year, I don't know if he got over health stuff or whatever, but this year Darnell Nurse is awesome. Is there going to be another point in his career? And we've seen, like, even like Zach Werenski has gone from being a really good defenseman to being like an elite defenseman. I don't know if Jones recaptures his old magic at some point, but I feel like with him, we have entirely ruled out the possibility of him like having a really good season at some point in the next 5.
Trade him back to the Blue Jackets, man.
I would love him back on the Blue Jackets. I'd like him to go somewhere and win. I want everyone to be happy.
I'm very here for the Seth Jones redemption arc. I just don't know what it's going to look like or if it's going to happen.
All right. Okay. Let's wrap up now by asking which NHL teams have been most affected by 4 nations. Obviously, the Bruins, as you mentioned off the top, have been with this whole Charlie McAvoy thing. We've joked that the Team USA doctors might have gotten Brad Marchand traded because if he's going to be week to week and out for a little while, then the Bruins maybe should have to sell because they're 5th in the wild card right now, and they're probably not going to make it if they are without one of their best players, especially someone who has proven this tournament he's going to turn it up when the games really matter. So Bruins heavily affected. Who else do you think is most affected?
Well, I mean, the Canucks based off of the Quinn Hughes thing, but also Elias Pettersson.
Yes.
Like we had a long discussion about like with JT Miller gone and Elias Pettersson getting to compete in this tournament with best on best, it is a very good opportunity for him to reset, have some fun, and show that he can get back to being the player that he was a few years ago. What did he do? He sucked, and then he became Sweden's least iced forward in their final game. A real disappointing game. And now, if you are the Vancouver Canucks, you're looking at Elias Pettersson, and you have a decision to make. You have to make a decision whether you're keeping that guy in the fold, because this summer, his no movement clause kicks in, and it's just, can you sell him right now based off of his stocks might be at an all-time low?
Yeah, they are high on the list. I got some Western Conference teams. Winnipeg Jets, definitely. If they win tonight, if USA wins and Connor Hellebuck completes this incredible tournament he's had, then bye-bye any Connor Hellebuck is a choking dog talk. That would be a massive weight off the Jets' shoulders, even if there's some, what happened to Kyle Connor, though?
Yeah.
Because I will take the all questions are answered with Connor Hellebuck, even if it comes at the expense of, well, that was kind of weird for Kyle Connor.
Yeah, I would also throw the Pittsburgh Penguins in there. We mentioned the Mike Sullivan effect, based off of, like, if the USA wins, Mike Sullivan might become a hot commodity. He might buy himself a little bit of job security beyond what he has in Pittsburgh. But also, and I don't think that Sidney Crosby needed this tournament to, like, remind him how much he loves competing. But you get a little taste of this and, like, what playoff hockey feels like. I think you got the potential of, Sid being like, get me to Colorado to play with Nathan MacKinnon, please. This has been a blast.
I think that both of last year's Stanley Cup finalists are affected by this. One, the Florida Panthers, because if Matthew Tkachuk is banged up down the stretch, this is not as deep a team as last year's was. Mm-hmm. So any chance of repeating, and man, going to 3 straight Cup finals is not interesting. It's not interesting. Well, I don't want them to go back. Is not easy. Although teams in Florida famously do that, so It's able to be done. But that would really hurt their chances. And let's not sleep on the fact that Zach Hyman hasn't had to, like, crash into walls for a couple of weeks now, and Leon Draisaitl, who, yes, is having the best season of any player in the NHL, has gotten a non-injury break in the middle of the season. Mm-hmm. He never has that.
No.
Because he's an all-star usually. So he still has to go, and he has to do the media, and he has to play, and he had, like, some of the best players in the league, and now you could say that for a lot of the Russian players who have been able to rest up, but that's how it affects the Oilers. Panthers, though, I watch out for that Tkachuk thing, because that is their identity.
Yeah, I mean, you also got to mention the Vegas Golden Knights. Shea Theodore knocked out of the tournament, and then
that might be the biggest one.
They've been known to utilize the money that potentially gets freed up. I don't know if
Seth Jones, you are.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Seth Jones on the fucking Vegas Golden Knights. Yes.
How do they keep getting away with this, brother? Yeah. So that'd be my list.
How about Cam was kind of slagging our guy Brad Marchand.
I don't like it.
Is he affected by all of this?
I don't think he wants to go anywhere. And
teams are calling the Bruins on him, and are apparently getting the nah, we're not doing it. That's what all the reporting has been.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how many times I need to hammer this home. Like, selling Brad Marchand would be the front office waving the white flag, and I just don't see them doing that.
They might have to if Minnesota's doctors just chunked it.
Even the McAvoy thing, I don't see the Bruins front office throwing in the towel. They will. Maybe it like makes them sit on their hands more, or like just sell like Frederick or whatever. But like, they're not going to throw in the towel because they know that their jobs are potentially on the line.
I'm so excited for this game tonight, boys. Like, we are finally here. It's a game 7-ish type thing. It's a huge game, and we haven't even had to travel for it. That rocks. I don't understand why I'm still so tired, as though I've been running around and everything.
Because you put together an incredible speedrun video that's on our YouTube, by the way. So if you want to go watch that, if you know what we do for the speedruns, we recap things in a very, very short period of time. We recapped the Four Nations face-off leading up to the final, and it's great. And DJ did a great job with it.
Thank you very much. If we ever do a Patreon or anything, or some like exclusive tier thing, we should stream us recording the speed run, because it is it's quicker than you would think. Like the final video ends up being 7 minutes. The recording of it is only like 10, 12 minutes, and we're just laughing the whole time. It's a lot of fun. So check that out if you have not. I believe we put it everywhere, right? It's on YouTube, it's on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, and it's on Instagram. Sean and I do not have tickets for the game tonight. We will be going on credentials, but we're keeping an eye out, because Sean and I have vowed, if we get tickets to the game tonight and we can go, wear our jerseys, do the whole nine, I will drink. And Sean, you said, what will you do? You'll fight people?
End up in prison. I don't know if I have decided on how that'll happen, but
You've been threatening to end up in prison a lot lately.
I'd love to have a righteous reason to be in jail, like a righteous reason to have a good mugshot. Start selling those T-shirts.
Sean is a huge Luigi Mangione fan.
I mean, your hair
Jokes.
famously,
That's not that much of a joke as you might think it is.
your hair famously looks amazing.
Thank you.
With like your what would it be called? Hairline. Your hairline is like as dead straight as I've ever seen it. You look damn good.
Hell
Appreciate it.
brother. I don't know why, and somebody brought this up, the deadline stream. I don't know why I've been thinking so much about the trade deadline stream in recent weeks.
In 2 weeks.
I cannot wait. I can't wait for the trade deadline stream. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, great time to do it. Please hammer that subscribe button, hammer the like button right below the video player. You will get all our videos, all our clips, all our episodes, the live stream, the 24-hour stream for the trade deadline. You're not going to want to miss that. Please stick with us. And if you want to get us on audio platforms as well, we're on all those: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for supporting us. And if you're in Boston, please come to Hurricanes tonight to get ready for this game, because it's going to be a party. We are going to be hamming it up. We're going to be meeting and greeting. We're going to be kissing babies,
There's
doing
going to be
live
guests.
shows.
There's going to be guests.
Yeah, Gerard Gallant is going to be on the show,
Oh,
whether he
don't
wants
tease
to
me.
or not.
Slight piece of breaking news.
Yeah.
Tyson Berry has been placed on waivers by the Calgary Flames.
Sad.
Damn.
And also Victor Wembanyama out for the rest of the year.
What?
Yeah, deep vein thrombosis in his shoulder. Don't know what any of that means, but he's out for the season.
He hurt himself in the skills competition. You hate to see it.
He's hurt himself throwing the skills competition. Did you see that, by the
Yeah,
way? Like him
yeah.
purposely trying to.
I put it in
cheat
the speed run video.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Amazing stuff. Okay, everybody, I'm seeing the chat is just lively. We're getting some Go Canada. We're getting USA stuff. Not to be the I just hope all four nations have fun guy. I love that shirt from that person who had that. Like, I saw a thing the other day. It was from one of my Oilers pals that was like, I got to be honest, I'm kind of ready to just get 10 likes on Connor Brown tweets again. Like, the stakes are so high with this. Americans are so mean to me. Like, everyone's been, and I was like, fuck, I know that is happening. I like that we get to just kind of sit back and see, like, the Canadian people love what they love. The American people, I know Sean's threatening to go to prison, but I think that mostly our people have been well behaved here, and this tournament is the best. So if you are rooting for Canada, go Canada for you. But man, tonight's a USA night, boys.
That's right. Play free
That's
bird.
a you specific sentiment. I don't want any.
I don't
want.
want. Yeah.
No, I
I
know
hope the
Sean's
Canadian fans have the worst night of their lives, hockey wise. Like I hope this makes you not love the sport anymore. Like I hope this makes you not care.
Yes, brother.
I want you
Fucking good.
to not enjoy tonight.
Okay, well, we're going to clip that. That's going to be our message for the show. Yeah, see you at Hurricanes, everybody. We hope it's going to be a great night. Ta-ta.
We all silly like the mayor.